Vacation nights here at Travel Planners International. Can I get a whoop whoop? Whoop whoop? All right. We're going to do some river cruising tonight, and I've got Pam to tell us all about it. Pam's here from Avalon. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
We are super excited to have you.
Well, thank you.
I was just telling some agents and some of their clients over there that I was lucky enough to go on my first river cruise this year, and I fell in love.
It is a great way to travel, isn't it? It's so relaxing. It's so easy. It's small, intimate ships. It's just really a great way to travel.
You're right there. You're just right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
No schlepping.
No schlepping. Maybe we should put that as our tagline.
There we go. No schlepping.
No schlepping.
I love it. That's great. So what have you got for us tonight?
So, well, the main thing that we want to do is kind of go through what makes Avalon a little bit different. So that's probably a key part of this presentation, because probably most of you know a little bit about river cruising or something about river cruising, but maybe Avalon Waterways and why we're different is something that we could shed a little bit more light on. So we want to talk about that. We also want to talk about our Vacation Your Way programs, which is something new that we just started this year. Introduce you to our active and discovery cruises, which we've had for about 3 years now, and they are going incredibly well, something that's growing within our company, and share a little bit about that. We have some new shorter cruises in 2020.
Ooh, that's super exciting, I think.
Yeah, they are, there's something that's really interesting for younger clientele, people who maybe just want to try river cruising because they haven't cruised before and aren't sure they want to commit, so they go as short as 3 nights. So it's really a great way to get a taste of river cruising, usually as part of a bigger trip. Not that many people will go to Europe for 3 nights, right? So it's part of a bigger trip typically, although there are people from New York who do sometimes go for 3 nights, or somewhere on the East Coast where it's a quick, easy trip, right?
Quick trips, yep.
And then also talk about the deal that we have. So if anybody books within 2 weeks of this trip, we already have great deals out there. So we have fly free and save $250 on select dates. We have fly free on some dates. So we have a whole mess of deals already in place.
And guess who can tell you all about it? Your rock star TPI travel agent. Always make sure you hook up with your travel agent. We're going to have an exclusive promotion.
That's right.
For attending this event, and it can only be booked through a Travel Planners International agent.
And that exclusive is an extra $300 off per couple.
Oh, that deserves another whoop whoop, right?
Yeah.
Whoop 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 whoop.
Plus free prepaid gratuities, which has a value of about $250 for a week. So this is a really good
whoop,
offer.
man. We're going to have to start dancing.
Yeah, so, okay, I'll dance with you.
There we go.
So
ooh, like
these are really great deals. So we're going to wrap up with that too and give you a closing on those deals. But why not start at a high note with all these new deals, and then we'll end on it too. So
now let's show them why they should be on the rivers, because wowing.
Yeah, so we like to use this little line: the possibilities are as wide open as the views. So river cruising is all about views, and our ships in particular are built to really take in those views. And one of the reasons that we say river cruising is about views is that that's one of the main reasons that our guests tell us that's why they choose to go river cruising. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I'm sure you saw on your river cruise. Unlike ocean cruising, which you look out at the ocean most of the time, on river cruising you're passing by beautiful scenery the entire
vineyards,
time, right?
I remember seeing beautiful buildings. You see
castles,
the church steeples in the background.
Absolutely.
I remember one morning, I'm tell a little aside because this is just so river cruise. I'm an early riser. I was up at some ungodly hour, you don't want to know, 6, 7 o'clock, and I went up on the deck and I went in the front, and there was some chairs, and I just sat out there, and I was the only one out there, and it was silent, and we passed these beautiful little villages, and I will never forget it. Never.
Yeah, and those are the kind of experiences that happen every day in river cruising. So it really is about views, about the scenery, about the places that you'll see and be right in the middle of as well.
Absolutely.
So, but the possibilities part of it is the piece that's really interesting with Avalon and what happens on board our ships beyond the views. So one of the things that is really unique about our company is that a lot of companies say, follow us, and we follow you being our guests. So we have built everything around what our guests tell us they want. So when it comes to our product, when it comes to our ships, everything's really designed around what our guest preferences are. And that's really an exciting way to develop our product and as we move forward, the new things that we do on board. So I have a short video that'll tell you a little bit, kind of give us a base about who Avalon is, what we're about, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into it. So we'll start with that.
The same company that reinvented river cruise ships with spacious rooms, huge windows, one-of-a-kind open-air balconies,
That's a deal.
There you go.
and beds that face the ever-changing views outside just reinvented the river cruise experience. Now you can choose 3 different ways to enjoy each destination, all as included excursions. You can choose to tour the classic sites and take in the stories. Or you can immerse yourself a bit deeper into local culture with an off-the-beaten-path discovery, a wine or beer tasting, or hear stories of local legend and lore. For the more adventurous souls, you can jump on a bike, paddle a canoe, or take a hike. Avalon has made it possible for you to cruise your way. We've also opened up a world of possibilities when it comes to dining, allowing you to choose where you'd like to dine, from an alfresco lunch in our open-air sky grill, to a more elegant dinner in our glass-walled dining room, or a petite plate in our panorama bistro. You can also choose when you'd like to dine. Our travel choices allow you to custom design your cruise, so you're always doing exactly what you want to be doing. Let us introduce you to the magic of the world, and you can experience it any way you'd like, with all the possibilities aboard Avalon Waterways.
Okay.
That was that not beautiful? I mean, there we go. And it's real. That's what you see on
is
these river
real.
cruises.
Yeah,
These are not touch-up photos. These are real.
I've done pretty much everything other than the jogging tour, I'll admit, on those cruises. So it is real for sure. So the panorama suite is the thing that I do want to dig a little bit into in terms of our rooms,
Let's
because
dig.
that's something that's really special about Avalon Waterways. So I said I would tell you what's different about Avalon. So if you know about river cruises, you know that we go through locks in order to traverse all the different rivers in Europe, and so the ships can only be a certain width. And because of that, it means that you cannot add a balcony without taking space away from the interior of the room. So our design of our panorama suites is really special. And what we've done is we've created something called an open air balcony. And you can kind of see it in this photo. The next photo, I think, might show it a little bit better. So that wall of windows is 11 feet wide and is floor to ceiling and wall to wall, and it opens 7 feet actually. So the opening that she has there is not open the entire way. So basically you can turn your entire stateroom into a balcony when you want it.
Nice.
So there happens to be a love seat there that's kind of hidden behind her. You can see the chair there as well. And so when you want a balcony, you can create a balcony. And then when you don't want a balcony because you aren't using it because you're sailing or because the weather's bad, whatever it may be, you get the entire use of that space inside. So it's a really good use of the space that is limited on river cruise ships for the reason that I mentioned.
And just the floor-to-ceiling windows. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just beautiful.
Well, it's, again, all about the views and what
Right.
you're going to see. The other really key part of the panorama suite that you can kind of see in this photo is that the beds were turned to face that view. So you can lay in bed and watch the scenery go by without even having to turn to the side, and you can just look straight ahead and
That is
see
very
out. So
cool. That is
it
very
is
cool.
definitely something that's very unique. Now, this is not a room that we have a couple of on our ship that I'm talking about that just the few elite people get. 80% of our staterooms are this stateroom.
Whoa,
So-
I love that.
Yeah.
80%.
80%. And it's 30% larger than the industry standard, so it's a really good size room, also at 200 square feet. And it's something that really has been the kind of key selling point for Avalon is with the views and with these staterooms. And it's not only us that has said that these are special. We've actually won the Cruise Critic Editor's Choice for Best Staterooms in River Cruising for 4 years in a row.
And that's what I keep hearing. Everyone that I've spoken to about Avalon, they said, oh, their cabins are the best, man. They're awesome.
Absolutely.
So I hear that over and over again. I do.
And so the other Cruise Critic Award that we won this year that we're really proud of is we won Best in European River Cruising this year from Cruise Critic, which was really exciting. Thank you.
Yay.
So, a couple of things to talk about and to brag a little bit as long as we're here.
A little bit, brag away.
and tell you, why Avalon's a little bit different. So, let's see. What else should we talk about in terms of views? So I actually had somebody say to me, this was a writer that I was traveling with, he said, every river cruise line can say that they have views. Okay, you've got the panorama suites, you've got that. So what else is different about you that brings views in?
He's a tough one, huh?
He was tough.
He said, prove it.
But I did prove it to him, and he agreed with me after the fact. So I'll tell you a little bit more about our view story and how our ships are different as you go around.
Prove it.
I will prove it. So our lounge is beyond being elegant, as it says in the slide here. Our panorama lounge, which is our big lounge at the front of our ship, is just one big wide open space that's surrounded by windows. A lot of lounges will have, not ours, have walls down the middle of them. So if you happen to be seated in one part of the lounge, you wouldn't be able to see out of the other side. Ours have views across the entire lounge. The other unique thing is that there is seating, believe it or not, for every single person on the ship in that room.
Wow.
That seems natural, right? Not everyone has that every person on board can fit into that lounge. So that's something that, we really believe strongly
Yeah, you end
should
up
be.
doing the share shuffle sometimes.
Right.
And yeah.
So that's really something important to us. We also have that observation lounge that you can see that's at the front of the ship. Another unique feature is we have something called the club lounge at the back of our ship, and this is one of my favorite spots on board. It's where the cappuccino machine is, the coffee machine is.
How important that coffee machine is.
It is. I always book my room at the back near there so that I can go back and
First at the coffee in the morning.
Get coffee in the morning, which is always really nice. I took my husband with me this summer, and he discovered that there are cookies there also, and went every night and got like 4 cookies, including some for me. And I was like, no, this is not a good thing for the diet. We just ate dinner, but there are cookies there also that are fantastic. So Club Lounge is really a great extra lounge that we have, again, surrounded by windows. So we've really taken the design of not having spaces that are with obstructed views in order to just make it that no matter where you're sitting on our ship, you have the best views.
Awesome.
Yeah. So even on our dining room, that's the case.
This is my favorite part, the food.
Excuse me.
The food. We're going to talk about food now.
And for a good reason, because there's a lot of good things to talk about when it comes to food on river cruising, for sure. So flex dining is something that's relatively new and for us as well. It's all about time, place, and venue. So time is probably the biggest shift. So time, it used to be on river cruise ships, and for a lot of river cruise lines still, that everyone would go to the port talk and then you get up and you go to dinner, because that's how the schedule worked, and you had to be to dinner at 7 o'clock because that's when dinner started. Well, we have listened to our guests, and they don't all want to go to dinner at 7 o'clock. They want the flexibility to go to dinner when they like. So we now have dinner with open seating from 7 until 8:30. So as long as you arrive before 8:30.
Gotta have time for that cocktail.
You have to have time for that cocktail. Sometimes we're sailing.
Am I lying? You gotta have time for the cocktail.
Gotta have time for cocktails. Sometimes we're in a port and you want to stay out later. Sometimes we're sailing through a lock or something interesting that you want to see. It might be that you want to take a walk on the sky deck. Whatever it may be, it gives the flexibility to do that. Or you might want to go to dinner at 7 o'clock, as plenty of people do, and you can do that still too. So flex dining really has opened up a lot of different opportunities for our guests. And it goes beyond just the time. There are a lot of different venues for dining on board. We have the Sky Grill, which you saw in the video.
That's nice.
It is a built-in, purpose-built grill on our sky deck that we do barbecues during the week, especially when we're sailing. It really is a beautiful, probably a highlight for most people in terms of their lunches
There's something
on
about
board.
al fresco, too. It just makes the
is.
food taste better.
Yeah. People love to barbecue at home, and it is, when you're sailing down the river and you're having an outdoor lunch, it really is a nice
And memories
treat.
forever. I mean, you're sailing down the Rhine and you're going past a cabin, eating your dinner out on a deck. I mean, wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's a memory forever.
It is, absolutely. And then we have our Panorama Bistro, which allows, again, a different opportunity for dinner if you want something in a kind of quieter, different venue. Small plates, as was said in the video, so just something a little bit different. We can even do picnic lunches, so if you want to grab a picnic from the ship, obviously there's the opportunity for continental breakfast, is room service in your room, so we have lots of different options for dining.
And we do have a question, is beer and wine included?
It is, absolutely. So,
Oh, yeah. We got a beer and wine lover.
so yeah, beer and wine with lunch and dinner, and champagne with breakfast. So you
Woo,
can drink at
all
breakfast
right,
if you
okay.
want. So yes, absolutely.
are.
Thank you.
All
That was a
right.
good question. I should have. And there's happy hour where the drinks are
Okay,
half
so
price.
beer,
so.
wine, champagne at breakfast, happy hour. All you lushes out there should be very happy.
Yeah, so.
And then,
thank
of
you.
course, the food is just fabulous. What I loved and what I found is that river cruises tend to, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this, use more local sourcing because
Absolutely.
you're getting in there. You're tending to use local foods more fresh, but more
Yeah.
regional. You're getting the regional cuisines more. That's the word I was looking for.
So
Thank you.
that's absolutely true. So I'll give you a good example. As you're sailing down the river, let's say you took a 14-day cruise from Amsterdam to Budapest, the menus actually change as you're sailing through, because you're going through lots of different
Right.
regions, obviously, on a cruise like that. So you would see different menus as
There
you
you go.
travel along. Our wines that we pour that are included, thanks to the wonderful question we received, also change as you're going down the
So
river,
you're
so that you're
goulash,
tasting.
bratwurst, Gouda cheese.
Yeah,
There we go.
absolutely. You got it. So,
Hey,
and the
I know it
wines
from food, man.
and the wines line up with it also. So, yeah, absolutely. The other piece in terms of local, absolutely, we're sourcing local foods quite often. Our chefs actually go ashore and buy local breads in order to, and there's a two-part to that. It's that guests want to try local things and taste those local breads. It also is a great way to support the communities that we travel through. And so when they're seeing that we're buying things locally, that's just another reason that they're happy to see Avalon Waterways ships come into port. Is that
And it gives
we're
you that
supporting them.
opportunity to try that Hungarian goulash in Hungary. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's awesome. I found the food to be fabulous.
Absolutely. All right. So
I've got a
got a
question, though,
question?
in conjunction to the wine question. If you buy wine when in port, can you bring it back on the ship and drink it at dinner? And is there a corkage fee?
So there, you can buy wine in port and bring it back on board. So unlike ocean cruise lines that typically there's a issue with bringing alcohol on board and drinking it in your cabin or anywhere on the ship, we don't have an issue with that. If you drink it at dinner, there is not a corkage fee. If you drink it in the bars, there is a very minimal corkage fee. But at dinner, we actually don't charge a corkage fee.
All right, that's another whoop whoop. Awesome. I love
right.
it.
Okay, ready?
We're
No more
ready.
questions?
No,
Okay.
we're good. We're done with the wine for now.
Well, food is a good thing to talk
Food and
about.
wine is always a good thing to talk about. Oh, I'm sorry. We
yes.
have a question.
Bringing wine, if they just want to bring it on the ship from the different regions to take home, that's not a problem.
Yeah, so the question was bringing wine. If you just want to bring wine from the different regions as you're traveling to bring home, that's not a problem. Absolutely not. And it's we actually visit a lot of wineries as part of our excursion programs and encourage people if they want to purchase things along the way, they can do that. So yeah, it's absolutely no issue. Thanks. That's a good
And
question.
we did in Austria. There's the apricots, and
Mm-hmm.
they have all the liqueurs and the schnapps and all that. Oh yeah, we bought that boy, and it wasn't a problem.
Yes.
Never been on a river cruise, so I'm very curious with all this. But I haven't seen any pictures of any kids on these boats.
Okay. So the question was from someone who's never been on a river cruise and didn't see any photos with kids on it and wanted to know about that. So we do have a minimum age, which is 8 on our ships, mostly because we don't have kids programs on board and kids programming. I am going to talk about our active and discovery cruises coming up, which are probably our best option for multi-generational travel. And when I've been on those in the summer, and I've done them now a couple of years in a row, I've been on 3 different active and discovery trips in the summer, and I've seen lots of multi-gen groups. And as I talk about that, you'll understand why a little bit more because of all the different choices of excursions that everybody can do what they'd they'd like to do.
Right, that's kind of cool, because you may not want to bring your 10-year-old to an art museum, but they would really think it would be kind of cool to ride a bicycle through some vineyards
Yep,
and,
you
through
got
the
it.
countryside, so.
You got it. And
Yep,
Grandma and
definitely.
Grandpa might not want to do that, but they'd
But
like
they
to go
can
to the
go
art
do the other-
museum,
there you
and then
go.
you can all meet up at dinner. So, yes.
Is there a drinking age problem, or what's the drinking age?
So the question was, what's the drinking age? So it depends on what country you're in. So we follow the country that you're traveling in's laws in terms of drinking age. It's typically 18 in Europe is the drinking age, but we follow whatever we're in inland waterways, so we follow the laws of the country that we're traveling through.
Any other
Okay.
questions? Nope.
All right.
Okay.
So Avalon Your Way is our pre and post land extension programs. And it's all about, again, flexibility and our guests getting to design their vacation their way. And one of the things that's really special about Avalon is that we're part of the Globus family of brands. And the Globus family of brands is a tour operator that's been in business for over 90 years. So we really do know a lot about doing land vacations. So that's one of the things that's special about the Your Way products is that we have so many different options. So we have a couple different choices. We have Your Way with Avalon, which are kind of your typical pre and post cruise packages. So on river cruises, it typically tends to be, the stay in Paris if you're doing the Rhone, the going to Prague after a Danube cruise, those kind of things. But because of our affiliation with the Globus family of brands, we also have some really unique extensions that others don't have. So with our Monograms brand, which is our independent city stay programs, you can take a train and go somewhere that's quite not necessarily close to where you are. It's close, but it's not something that a normal river cruise line, I should say, would
So, for
package
example,
together.
like Munich,
So, for
maybe.
example, well, Munich would be an Avalon
close
one.
one?
So,
Okay.
you end in Paris, and you can take the train to London and do
there
an
we go.
extension to London. So, London would not be a typical river cruise city, right?
Right.
And it gets added on. You can take the train up to Venice and Rome and add that to river cruising. So, there are a lot of different packages that are taking and putting together cities that aren't necessarily associated with river cruising and adding them to river cruises, and that's become really popular. It's something that I'd say about 10% of our guests are taking the Monograms extensions on top of an Avalon cruise, and that really makes a lot of sense. If you're buying the plane ticket and you're going there, you might as well take advantage of the time that you're there and spend even more time. And then last but not least is our Globus brand, which is of course our touring brand, and we actually have a few different tours that line up seamlessly with Avalon cruises. So you can take a romantic Rhine cruise, for example, get off in Basel and then join a land tour of Switzerland. And there's one that lines up with a German tour. So there are a few different options
Nice.
like that people can package, that we've packaged together and make it quite easy to sell and to combine together for one vacation.
Are transfers included from the pre and post packages to the ports?
They are. Yes.
Yes.
So if you take our pre and post, all of the transfers are included, so it makes it super easy. As I said, totally seamless.
Seamless, there you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And if they do the extension, say, to London from Paris, again, you're taking care of all of it.
We are.
They don't have
Yep.
to go out on their own and try to figure out how to get to that train station and all
Not
that.
only do you not have to figure out how to get to the train station, we'll even get you onto the right train, which is one of the most confusing
important.
things. Yes.
Very important.
It is, yeah. For a lot of people, those train stations in Europe can be pretty
There's
intimidating,
four
right?
in Paris. There's
Yeah.
four. There's four.
So to go to the train station and then figure out which train and how to buy the tickets, all of that, if you've not done it, can be pretty intimidating. So
Awesome.
our people will take care of getting them there, getting them onto the right train, and then once you arrive in London, there's somebody there waiting with a Monogram sign to meet the guests as they come out of the train station and take them on their way. So that's their local host. That's what we call, what we brand them on Monograms.
Nice.
And then they'll have sightseeing included and a whole array of excursions that they can choose from during their time in London.
So again, you said choose from, so they can then customize it to what they want to do.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So there's
Awesome.
always an included sightseeing that kind of covers off the must-sees, and then you can customize and do things, again, to what suits your taste and your
Right.
interests.
Right. I love it. Awesome.
Okay, so speaking of choice, This is about our land excursions, and this is probably the most exciting development we've had at
ready.
Avalon in the last couple years, to me. So we've developed beyond the typical river cruise shore excursion that I think was part of what river cruises were about many years ago. Was you got off the ship, you went on a walking tour, you saw the churches, again, one of our conversations earlier,
Yep.
and then
They're
you went back to the
beautiful,
ship,
love
and they're
them.
beautiful. But our guests really told us they wanted other things, and so we've created Avalon Choice, which really gives a lot of different options. So we have the classic sightseeing, which is with an expert local guide taking you to the must-see sites of the cities that we visit. We have discovery excursions, and the discovery excursions are things that really explore a destination in a different way, kind of digging into people's passions. So things like cooking classes, painting classes, you saw a little bit of that in the video. Trying to think of some other things. Going to a farm and even working on the farm potentially. I went and
There we go. There's for the kids, right?
went to an organic farm, and
That would be cool.
we got to work a little bit and eat all the strawberries. That was the best part of it.
Yeah.
And then the active, which are my favorite excursions, things like hiking, biking, canoeing on the Danube even. So really cool, fun, active excursions. So that's really gives something for everyone, and with all these choices. But if there wasn't something in all of these choices that you wanted, we do have ways that you can go and do things on your own, and we have an app that really helps helps our guests find their way on their own, helps them with information about our ports, helps them with turn-by-turn directions that you don't even have to be using your data, because you download the app in advance and then you can get around without using your data, using the maps in the app. Our cruise directors
really
are there,
awesome.
of course, to help with information, and then we have a person on board called an adventure host, who I'm going to tell you a little bit more about, and they're there to help you with ideas for biking and hiking, maps, things like that. We have 16 bikes on board all of our ships, so if you ever want to just go bike on your own, you can grab one of those bikes and head out. So it really can be as active or as relaxing as you want it to be.
I
That's
kind
the
of like
beauty
the
of river
bed with the
cruising.
feet up and looking out, you know.
Yeah,
that's my
you can do that.
I do have a question. I guess what's the maximum number of guests per cruise ship? So what size are these ships?
So we have two different size ships in our European fleet, and I only know them in meters. I should know them in feet because we speak feet here, but I know meters, unfortunately. So we have 110 meter ships that carry 128 guests, and then our 135 meter ships take 166 guests.
That's lovely,
So they're
too.
quite small. As I said, intimate
no
ships,
lines,
no lines.
crowds,
No. And they never feel crowded.
No.
That's the beauty of it. So all of the ships in Europe are essentially the same size. There are a few that get a little bit bigger if they only want to sail that certain stretch of the Danube, that you can sail a bigger ship. But in general, most of the ships in Europe are about the 135 meter length. And the same width, as I mentioned, because they can't be any wider to go through all the locks. And many have up to 190, some of them even more than that in terms of guests. So having 166 is the maximum on that size ship really gives you lots of elbow room, and you never feel like it's crowded at all.
We have a question.
Yes.
So for the excursion, since it's a smaller ship,
Mm-hmm.
is that something people need to book ahead of time, or can they book it day by day? Do they fill up? Do they max out?
Yeah. So the question was, with the excursion, since it's a smaller size ship, is that something that people need to book in advance? Can they book it day by day? Do they max out? So in general, no, they don't really have to book them in advance. We do have a My Avalon site, which allows guests to go in advance and choose their excursions, which are included, by the way, most of them. We do have a few optional excursions, but they can go and choose from the included excursions and make those choices and have them in advance. If they don't want to, they don't have to. The one cruises that we do really recommend people doing in advance is the active and discovery cruises, because some of those do have limits. Like the canoeing has a limit, and those do sometimes fill up. But in general, most don't.
That makes sense. You only have so many canoes you can
Yeah,
put
absolutely.
on your shoulder. Now we've got another question. On the walking tours, do you have various levels of ability groups, or is everyone grouped together? Great question.
That is a great question.
Because I am not as fast a walker as maybe the next guy, or
Yeah.
you know.
So it depends on what kind of a walking tour it is. So if we're talking a walking tour of a town, yes, what we'll do on our classic sightseeing, we'll have a gentle walkers group, which is the slower paced walkers, and then all of the others are not paced differently. Now, if we're talking about our hikes and asking if there are different paces on that, yes, we actually do pace those.
Really?
So yeah, what we'll do is we'll do 3 different
Gentle
groups. No, but we'll have we'll do a fast group, and we kind of describe that as you're not going to stop. You're there for exercise, and you're going.
They're going straight up that
Yeah.
hill, right? Yeah,
And then a
okay.
medium group that's going to stop and take a photo here or there, to get your breath, but you all say you're stopping for a photo, right? And then the slower group that really stops, kind of hangs back and takes more
More
frames.
photos.
Exactly. And then what they do is they're describing this is that they also tell you the different channels. So if you maybe think you're in the fast group and then you're not because you have a headset for all of your sightseeing so you can hear the guides. So if you fall back into another group, you can change and become part of that group. Or if you're
There we go.
faster, you can go ahead.
That's
so
cool.
there are all sorts of different things.
There
so
we go.
hopefully that
Something for
answered. I
everybody.
wasn't sure which question it was about, but
was a
hopefully
great-
that answered it.
I loved that answer. Did you like that answer? I thought it was a good answer.
Okay, good.
That was a great answer.
Good. Did we get the questions?
I think we got 'em.
All right,
Yep.
great. So we talked about the app. So the adventure host. This is a new position on board. This is what I want to do when I grow up. If I had European citizenship, I don't. So maybe someday. But our adventure host is a new role on board, and they are there to basically lead exercise classes, allow people to continue with their active lifestyle, that they may have at home when they're on vacation also, which is, again, feedback from our guests. We have a fitness center on our ships, and some people said that they would really like to have classes as well. So our adventure hosts can do yoga classes, they do stretching, strength training, all sorts of different classes. They also will lead hikes off of the ship, walking trips, jogging if people want to do it. They kind of gear it based on what they see the people who are on board are interested in. They'll kind of adjust as they meet the group and get to know what they're interested in doing, which is a
that's
really
nice,
good way to do it.
Because you're a smaller ship, so that they can do that. And that's another thing that you're going to find with river cruises is because your guest to staff ratio is very high, because you're small and because it's intimate, the crew get to know you.
Absolutely.
They get to know you very well. They call you by your name by the end of the first day.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. When you come back and you're running around the cities, or you're hiking up that hill, or you've been busy all day, to come back and have someone, it's almost like coming home. You walk in and they'll say, "Hi, Victoria, how was your day?" And it's like, "Oh, he likes me." It's
nice.
a wonderful way
Yeah.
to end your day. It really is.
It really is, and it's so natural from our crew to be that
Absolutely.
way. And it just, the other beautiful thing about our ships is that they're all the exact same layout, and so you really do feel at home, especially as a repeat passenger. If you come back again, even if you're on a different ship, on a different river, you feel at home because you feel like you know that
You know
ship.
right where to go.
And the crew are so
And right for
genuine,
that
as you
cook-
said.
right for the
Right for those cookies, absolutely, yeah. My husband said we needed a tray like that at home. I was like, yeah, I don't think we need a tray like that, but
He expects his cookies nightly now.
exactly.
You will get spoiled on a cruise, that's
Yes.
true.
Would you recommend river cruises for people who tend to get seasick?
So the question was, would you recommend river cruises for people who tend to get seasick? Were you going to answer?
I was going to say yes. Yes.
Yeah. There's
No, they
very
don't,
little
rivers
motion.
don't, there's no real tides. You don't, there's no, I mean, yeah. Every once in a while, if a bigger ship goes by, they'd have to be going really fast. And then you might go, that's about it.
Yeah, there's very little motion.
Yeah.
You can feel very confident sending anyone that they will essentially feel nothing on
Yeah.
a river.
Yeah.
So it's a nice thing that you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, I remember on my river, because the first day, a lot of people were talking about that, and I talked to some other agents, and they were saying, "Oh, my client was worried about it," but no, it wasn't at all, and not at all.
Yeah.
It was great.
Okay, so active and discovery, we've touched on a little bit, and we talked about multi-generational and where that fits in with our company. This is probably where it fits in the best. And we talked about the active, classic, and discovery excursions, so the Avalon Choice. These cruises are on the Danube, the Rhine, and the Rhone River. So we haven't talked about our itineraries and where we sail otherwise. So we have cruises of 3 to 27 nights. We have lots of different cruises. You have brochures in front of you. You can always visit our website and see all of our itineraries. So we have a huge variety of cruises. And then we have these active and discovery cruises that are something that's unique and special to Avalon. So that's why I do want to spend time talking about those versus, we don't have that long to go through every itinerary, unfortunately. But these really kick up the choice even more than on our classic cruises, and even more of the discovery and active choices. So if there are people who are, if you are the type of person who really likes to do things when you're on vacation, these are the cruises for you. So this is where you could be on a bike ride in Vienna one day, the next day canoeing on the Danube, the next day in a cooking class. So, lots of different experiences, all still seeing the destinations, but just seeing them in a different way and doing
And this is
more.
all, this would be included, or is this an additional cost?
Everything I just mentioned is included in the itinerary
So,
and as a choice.
you've got your cruise, you've got your food, you've got beer and wine and champagne and all the booze that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all your shore excursions. So really, the only money you need to have with you is when you go shopping.
Yeah, pretty much.
Woo-hoo, ladies.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I was on board, my bill I think was 22 euros, and that was because I, drank some happy hour drinks every day, and that's nothing.
Yeah,
22
I know.
euros.
Yep.
So
yep. And they also have, I know from my experience, they have usually not full, like some of them have spas, but they always usually have a masseuse on board.
yeah,
and
we,
that-
we actually don't have that in Europe.
Oops,
We do
all right.
have it
I just
on the
don't-
Mekong though, so
There we
it's
go,
not
see?
out of line for
It's
what we
there,
have.
it's
So in
there.
Southeast Asia,
So
we do
that
have
you might
that.
want to spend money on that. That's about
Absolutely.
it. That is
Absolutely.
about it, though.
Yeah.
Really,
You really could come on one of our ships and not spend anything additional because pretty much everything is up front in the fare.
right. See,
You're
there we
right.
go. So if you're going to the Mekong, you can have a massage, and they're awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so a little bit more about active discovery. There's a video that explains it better than I did probably, so we'll let that play.
Is it to see new things? Or to try new things? Is it to go back centuries? Or to be in the moment? Is it to take pictures? Or to take action? We travel to see the works of sculptors and painters and to imitate their techniques. We travel to meet bakers and chefs and to saute in their kitchens. We travel to meet farmers, vintners, and brewers and to taste their divine secrets. We go out into the world to forge new paths and to discover old ones. We follow sweet aromas, alluring fragrances, and complex bouquets. We pedal and paddle, jog and climb, dabble and dance, and even march to the beat of our own drum. We journey to examine and explore, to listen and learn, and to engage and enjoy, with hands-on and hands-off. We travel to walk in the footsteps of all who have come before us, warriors and soldiers, emperors and kings, sailors and sirens, architects and builders, none of whom, by the way, were ever bystanders. So when we travel, why should we be? Engage, interact, indulge, only on Active Discovery Cruises, exclusively from Avalon Waterways.
Wow, that was
Right.
cool. I'm not even what you'd call an active person, but that looked like fun. Like, I want to do most of what I just saw.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
I bet.
I have been lucky enough to go 3 times in the last couple of years on those specific
I
cruises.
bet.
They're a lot of fun.
Do you have electric bikes?
The
Or
question,
these are all human powered bikes?
the question was, do we have electric bikes or are they all human powered? So we do have a mix of human powered and electric bikes. And on our excursions that we offer on these cruises, some are e-bike. And then some are regular bikes, so it just depends on the excursion itself. In France, I just did an e-bike tour that goes to the Pont de Garde, and it was really a lot of fun. I want one now of the e-bikes. Slightly more exercise than sitting on the couch, but a lot of fun.
And we do have a question, might not be active, but it's really kind of
Okay.
more discovery side. Do you offer dinners or lunches or meeting greetings with local families? Do you hook people up?
So yes and no. So, like, yes, we mostly have things that are not really at people's homes. So I guess that's why I said yes and no. So you definitely meet so many locals on these trips. We have things that go to farms, and so you're at
cooking
their
classes.
Yeah, we have
Okay, that
cooking
makes
classes. So you are going to people's homes, but not inside their house. It's more
Right.
of like their business that is at their home.
Got it.
So we don't do any dinners in people's homes. Again, this is a direction from our guests who they've told us that it does not, they feel awkward going to someone's home and having dinner there. And so we tried them and it didn't
work
fly
too
for
well.
us. So
Right.
I know that it does work
Right.
for some companies.
Right.
So
And we do have another question. I don't know what the, all right, I'm going to skip that one because I don't know what that meant. Okay. Before that one, a wheelchair question.
Yeah.
Is it easy for someone in a wheelchair to get around?
So to get around on board, yes. If you are completely in a wheelchair and cannot stand and climb any stairs, river cruising would be challenging. And the reason for that is that in order the safety behind that is the problem. You have to be able to go to the sky deck. That's where the muster stations are. And in case of an emergency, you would need to go up to our top deck. And because of going under low bridges, our elevator cannot go up to the top deck of the ship. So everything on the top deck of river cruise ships collapses down. That's another little piece of our puzzle.
So if you ever get a trivia question, now you know.
So that we can go under some of these low bridges. So the elevator, therefore, does not go all the way up to the top deck. So someone has to be able to climb up to the sky deck in case of an emergency. So that would be the one challenge if somebody was completely wheelchair bound. Otherwise, our ship, you can get around on a wheelchair on our ship. There is an elevator. The getting on and off, because there aren't major tides, is relatively easy in terms of the gangways themselves.
Cool. I have a question. I hope you understand this one. I don't. Do you meet the count of clam?
Oh, yes, I do understand that question. And it is it's a little bit of a weird question, but you do meet the count of clam.
Okay, what is the count of clam?
So, Clam is a city in Austria, and the count is the count of clam. So the city in Austria called Clam, and there's a count.
Okay.
I can't believe somebody actually asked that question. He was in the video, so maybe that was what sparked
that's
it.
what sparked
But yes,
somebody knows the count of clam.
Yeah, somebody went on our Active and Discovery cruise, I think on the Danube, and met. He's quite charming, the Count of Clam. He's a relatively young man. And he is married to a beautiful French woman. And last
Countess of Clam.
Yes, and last time I was there, I held their baby while we walked around.
Baby clam.
Baby clam. But they're lovely people. And last summer, so he is really an amazing
guy.
guy.
Have a dog, puppy clam.
I don't know. I've never seen a dog.
Okay.
But so he's really an impressive guy, and he tells you about the actual burden of being left with this castle to some. He doesn't call it that. I'm translating it to that, and just what it takes to be able to maintain this beautiful castle. And that, believe it or not, the people of Clam are not funding the Clam Castle anymore. So it's a bed and breakfast now, and he does this really cool concert series called Live at Clam Castle. And last year we were there in the summer when he had Foreigner playing there. And so our guests, he's like, no, you're still coming. Of course you're still coming, even though the concerts were happening. And our guests got to go and essentially be at the VIP section of the Foreigner concert as part of their visit to Clam Castle.
So it could happen to you. Go on an Avalon cruise, and it could happen to you.
You'll meet the Count of
I have a
Clam.
question from the back.
question was, is his wife's name Pearl? Which is pretty funny.
Oh, we could go on with this
I'm
all
sure.
night, man.
I hope he doesn't watch this. He's so sweet. We love you.
Okay, I think
Okay.
we can move on
Yes,
now.
okay. So we talked about shorter itineraries and how they're great for somebody who wants to do it, hopefully we've convinced you that you do want to do a long river cruise, that it is so much fun. But there are people who might not have the time, might not have the budget.
There's still I'm not
Yeah.
convinced, right?
Maybe, you never know. So
But we're going to convince you.
we have had this short taste of the Danube cruise, 3 nights, 4 days, for quite a while. They
Nice.
sold out faster than any of our other cruises. We don't have a ton of them, I will admit that. So it's not like they sold out, that they are best-selling cruises. We don't do a ton of them, but they sell out really fast. So there's something to this shorter cruise itinerary that, as I said, people build it as part of a bigger trip to Europe. So this year we've added quite a few other ones. So we have a Taste of the Rhine, which is a 4-night cruise from Amsterdam to Mainz. So Frankfurt is the airport for that. We have our Heart of Germany cruise, which is a 5-night cruise, 6 days from Mainz, Frankfurt again, to Nuremberg, so on the Main River. And then the Danube Symphony, which is from Passau to Budapest in 5 nights. So
Nice.
lots of different shorter options to allow people to get a little taste of river cruising and then tell us when they have to leave after a few nights that they wish they'd
So
stayed
can I
longer,
just
which is
say
what
you
usually
have-
happens.
And I'm
So,
assuming that they can combine those with the land offers that you offer.
Absolutely.
We talked about before.
and we've packaged land with all of
There we
these
go.
to make it
See?
easy to make it a part of a bigger
Way
trip.
to dip
as we
your
said.
toe in the river, so to speak.
Absolutely, absolutely. So here's the really cool part about these is that they start at $874. So you can do 4 days on the Taste of the Danube starting at $874. And if you get that with the save an extra $300 and free prepaid gratuities,
They're gonna be
that's a
paying you to
pretty
go.
good deal, right? So yeah, so that's a great
Wow.
offer. So speaking of offers, we're almost done here. I said we were going to start with the offers and end with the offers. So right now we have our best offers: free air and save $500 a couple on European sailings. We also, as a reminder, for anybody who joined this, we have an extra $300 off per couple, plus free prepaid gratuities, which has a value
Wow.
of over $250 for a 1-week cruise.
Wow.
Obviously,
Wow.
it goes up or down depending on the length of the cruise. So it's a really great deal. And
And again, only through your Travel Planners International travel agent. I just want a little, if you don't have a TPI travel agent, you should. But please feel free to reach out to us, 407-331-3888. And we will find you a rock star travel agent so that you can take advantage of this deal. If you have a Travel Planners International travel agent, what are you waiting for? Book it. Get the deal. Because
Absolutely.
this is, I don't know if I've seen as juicy a deal as this.
yeah, these are our best offer. This is our best offer that we have, and then combine it with the exclusive that we have for tonight, and it really is a great deal.
Wow.
So,
Wow. How can you not go on the river for this? This is like, wow. I mean, I can make a promise to you that you dip your toe or you go on a 5-night or a 3-night or a 7-night, you will book another river cruise. You will go again and again and again.
Yeah.
I'm looking, people are telling me, look. Good question. Do you do single supplements? How does that work for the single traveler?
oh yeah, that's a very good question,
question.
because we did not talk about that deal as part of our big deals, and this is our most popular deal actually. So there are single supplements in cruising, as everyone knows, but we actually have a deal where we waive the single supplement on every sailing for a
Wait a minute.
select number of cabins, and so it is something you need to book early, because it is our most popular offer.
That's awesome. So that's
And-
really great. Another whoop whoop, whoop 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 whoop.
I didn't even tell you the best part yet. We
Oh,
don't
okay.
limit it to just the cabins at the bottom of the ship. You can get one of those beautiful panorama suites. You can get any.
Oh, that's
you
a
can get
big
any-
whoop whoop whoop. That's a
Absolutely.
deep whoop. I had a question back there.
Excuse me.
There we go.
Okay, good.
Awesome. That is a great deal. There's the free beer. Oh, is it the wine?
No,
Wine.
beer.
Beer.
Beer, yeah.
There you go. Beer. Awesome. Love it. Do we have any other questions?
Is there a Christmas market?
There
Christmas
are.
markets.
Yes. So we do lots of different Christmas markets options on the Danube, on the Main, on the Rhine River. So yes, starting at, I think a 4-night is the shortest. Actually, we have the Taste of the Danube. 3 nights is our shortest, and going up to long ones that are combining multiple different cruises. I think the longest is maybe 12 nights, so quite a few different options. The most popular are the 7-night cruises.
When do those usually start? Because we call them Christmas markets, but you know everybody wants to get their presents beforehand. So when can we start going there and spending our money on Christmas presents for everybody else?
Yeah, for us it's after Thanksgiving is when we start,
go.
and the reason that we wait is that we actually wait till the markets are open, because the markets aren't actually open until after our Thanksgiving. It's typically late November when the markets will open, and then they close right before Christmas, but we typically end our Christmas market programs around, the last sailing is typically mid-November, like the 15th-ish.
And a really little tip that I can give you too, my mom is German and I've been going there since I was a kid. And they actually, I want to say it's the 6th, if you go around that time, because they celebrate what they call Fasching. And it's awesome. If you go there during that week, it's like a little added bonus. So you'll get extra things to see, extra things to do, experience that you wouldn't normally if you go any of the other times around Christmas. It's a
good
big
tip.
deal over there, Fasching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Is Avalon going to be putting on new ships in different areas?
So the question
What's
was,
the plan for 2021, 22?
So the question was, is Avalon going to be putting on any new ships in different areas? What's the plan for 21 and 22? So we do have a new ship coming in 2020. It's the Avalon View that will be launching on the Danube River. It'll be christened in the next, in April of this year. So one more ship coming. In 21, we actually don't have any new builds. But I didn't mention all of our other, I just kind of mentioned the Mekong just when we were talking about about massage, but we do have 2 ships sailing on the Mekong, 2 Avalon ships. They are only 36 guests, so they're very small, beautiful
That's like having your own
ships.
personal cruise ship.
It is, yeah. They're really phenomenal. So, every cabin.
If you're out there and you've got friends and family, you could take a whole group. Think about it. You could.
We have had
your
people
own-
do that.
Your own ship. So, yeah, absolutely. That would be. How
We've had
cool
that
is that?
happen a few times, just because, again, 36 people. It's relatively easy to pull
Yeah.
that together.
Do I have enough friends?
We have the Ganges, which is another area. We do the Amazon,
You do
and
the
we
Ganges,
we do
really?
the Ganges.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we have the Amazon, and we also have small ship cruising in the Galapagos. So those are the destinations where we're
Oh, that's
sailing
awesome.
currently.
And I'm assuming because of your relationship with Globus Family that you can offer land with all this
Absolutely.
too. So,
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you can go down the Amazon and fish for piranha.
You can.
And is there a discount of some sort for previous cruises, for previous people who went with Globus?
So the question was, is there a discount for people who have traveled with the Globus family of brands previously? So we just recently redid our repeat guest program, and it's more of it's called the Welcome Back credit, and so it's more like what you would have with a airline or hotel loyalty program, where you earn based on what you've spent on your current trip. And so anybody who had been part of our prior Journeys Club received a initial deposit into their bank, and now as they travel again, they'll earn. And the great thing about it is we're able to do some special offers through that, where sometimes we'll give double the welcome back credit for select sailings, things like that. So yes,
again,
there
always
is.
check with your travel agent because they're in the know. They will always find you the best deal, the existing promotions. They will hook you up. Make sure you're booking through your Travel Planners International travel agents, right?
Absolutely.
And for this deal that we talked about, it has to be booked within 2 weeks of today.
That's
correct?
right.
Awesome. So don't forget, get that booking in there. Do we have another question?
Are Christmas market cruisings included in this free, in the deals that you just mentioned earlier?
So the question was, is are Christmas market cruises included in the deals that I mentioned earlier? So in terms of the free air plus $250 off, I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, if any of those sailings are included in that. They are included in the exclusive offer. Everything we have is included in the exclusive offer of the extra $300 and the free prepaid gratuities, but I don't know if any of them are on free air plus $250 off. Sorry.
But again, check with your travel agent, or if you are a travel agent, double check, go on Globus's website, reach out to the reps, and we do have that information for you. So your travel agent can find that out for you.
Yes, go ahead.
You say you gotta book it within 2 weeks?
Yes.
How far out?
So the question was, how far out? We said you have to book it within 2 weeks. How far out can you book? So we are currently open we have very little left for 2019, but there are a few sailings left in 2019, maybe a couple cabins left. 2020 is, the main focus. Is this valid for 21? This offer, is it valid for 21?
We could.
Okay, it's valid for
You heard
21.
it here, folks. You just made an executive decision.
It's valid
So
for
2020 and
2021.
2021, there you go. But remember, it has to be booked within 2 weeks. Do we have any other questions? Any other questions out there? Oh, have a question here. Like regular cruise ships, are there smoking, capital letter, areas on river cruise boats, on the river cruise ships?
So yes, there are. Just a very few spots. They're at the back of the ship so that the smoke goes off the ship. There's one outside of the club lounge, and then there's one upstairs on the sky deck to where.
Put them in the dinghy and send them off. Okay.
So
Yeah. All right. I think, any other questions? I don't want to miss any questions. No? Okay.
all right.
Captain of the ship. Oop, wait, nope. Okay. We have a giveaway for one lucky person out there in live stream land. So can I get a drum roll? And they're winning, what is it, $100 gift card?
$100 Amazon gift
Amazon
card.
gift card, $100. Ready?
Yeah.
The winner is Christine Adelsberger. Woo! Make sure you give your address, email address, physical address, everything. Type it in there so that we can get that $100 gift card out to you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And thank you for joining us tonight. This was like awesome.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much. I really appreciated
Thank
being
you.
here. And thanks to this great audience as well. And really hope that so many of you take advantage of this great offer because, it really is a fun and relaxing way to travel. And I hope that you get a chance to try it.
Absolutely.
if
I
you
mean, I
haven't.
was in love with river cruising before. I am more than convinced than ever that it is the way, the best way, without a doubt, to see Europe in particular, or any of those places. I can't even imagine going down the Mekong River, man. That's got to be cool.
It's very cool. And with
Awesome.
only 36 people, you get into these little villages and go into people's homes, like you were asking, like someone was asking about earlier. We don't have dinner there, but you do go into people's homes. You have all these really cool experiences.
Nice.
So,
Wonderful.
Not on
yeah.
here anymore?
No,
Pardon me?
we are. So thank you, folks. Thank you. We're just chit-chatting. That's okay. I don't know. They come out and tell me when we are off. But we can keep talking. I'm having a great time. Are you having a good time?